Ladies and gentlemen, there's been a major WWE leak, and it's a very exciting one, especially if you're into video games. We got to talk about that. Plus, in addition to that story, Tony Khan is doing something. Some people are saying it's petty, some people are saying it's desperate, but I think it's a great move. It's a great marketing tactic, and I'm super excited to talk about that. And yes, we are going to talk about Tony Khan teasing a nice welcome change for AEW. I'm going to tell you guys why I support it. It's all coming up right here on the Ango Show. And don't forget, by the way, click that subscribe button. All right, first things first, let's talk about it. Tony Khan and the AEW pay-per-views. Tony Khan was actually doing an interview with the Hollywood Reporter, and it was really cool because you guys know that Tony Khan right now currently has 9 pay-per-views. He's slightly different from WWE. WWE does a pay-per-view every month, plus NXT does them very often as well. In this interview, he says that 9 is a great number, which is the amount that they currently have. But he is not ruling out the idea of adding another one. He says, I could see it going up to 10, which is a very, very interesting decision and a very interesting choice. But believe it or not, I actually do support it. And the reason why I support this kind of move, honestly, more than anything, is because I think AEW more times than not does pay-per-views incredibly well. I don't think they're perfect by any means, but I think it's very good for AEW's business when they do pay-per-views. I've spent a lot of money going to AEW pay-per-views in the past. I definitely understand why people enjoy going to the pay-per-views. I would like to see AEW have 12 pay-per-views, believe it or not. I think it would actually solve a major problem with AEW weekly television. I think the storytelling would be a lot better if there was pay-per-views even more often. So I know Tony Khan is teasing the idea of 10. I would highly recommend that AEW goes to 12. If AEW went to 12, it's very similar to WWE, but I think it allows them to kind of patch the holes within their storytelling on a weekly basis. I just think they'll be a little bit more focused. I think the pay-per-views would actually be a little bit better. And if they do 12 pay-per-views, you don't have to do 10 to 13 matches for each pay-per-views. You know, what you can do, WWE is kind of doing like the 5 pay-per-view method. I'm not even saying Tony Khan has to do that, but I do think it would be cool if Tony Khan did, 12 pay-per-views a year, and each one had about 7 matches. And those 7 matches could be really, really good in the sense of, you put your top stories on there, and then the matches that don't make the pay-per-view could be on Dynamite or Collision, which would then actually make Dynamite or Collision even better to watch. It's more incentive to watch the weekly TV as well. Now, of course, with them doing more pay-per-views, whether it's 10, 11, or 12 pay-per-views, you do just got to keep in mind that it could be a little bit of an issue because they are charging $50 for pay-per-view. Maybe perhaps when they are officially on Max for their pay-per-views, we can see that number going down a little bit. Now, whether or not that will happen, who really knows? Okay, that's going to take us to our next topic, ladies and gentlemen. We got to talk about it. Tony Khan did something really, really interesting. Some people hate it. Some people love it. Some people are calling it petty. Some people are calling it desperate. Quite honestly, I actually think it was genius. I think it's smart. At the end of the day, it's all about marketing, and that's what you should be doing, right? If you're in business, your goal is to bring in as many customers as possible. Now, Tony Khan basically had AEW. They paid for billboard advertising in Las Vegas at the airport. So there is AEW ads at the airport for Las Vegas. And obviously with Las Vegas being the home of WrestleMania, there's a lot of tourism, a lot of people flying in for WrestleMania. Now they have the ability to get to the airport and see AEW. Now, some people really don't like this. And I think people are doing this because of the tribalism and because they want to pick sides and they just kind of want to be negative about it. But if I'm honest with you guys, the point of pro wrestling as a business is no different than any other business, right? You go into an airport, you're going to see Pepsi, you're going to see Coca-Cola, you're going to see a pizza company like Jet's Pizza or Pizza Hut or whatever, and then you're going to see Little Caesars. Like, you're going to see competitive brands being advertised. I don't really think it's that petty. I think for AEW, as long as their ads look good, then maybe it'll work. I don't know if it will genuinely help AEW, but Tony Khan's got money, And this is a company that struggles with marketing. They do struggle with advertising. That's a relatively known fact. So the fact that AEW decided to leech off of WrestleMania is not a problem whatsoever. At the end of the day, I would expect WWE and AEW to advertise and be in the vicinity of any of these major events, because at the end of the day, you are fighting, you're in competition, you're fighting for viewers, you're fighting for consumers to buy your pay-per-views and to buy your merchandise and to tune in and to become a supporter. To me, it's a no-brainer. I have no problem with it. I think the reason why people are calling it desperate is because of the fact that they think Tony Khan and AEW are threatened by WWE, and they are. But at the same time, too, they are a competitive business. And I like to say the best way to look at this is literally just think of any other business. You go to a basketball arena. I've seen this. Certain stands, certain advertisements, certain things. They advertise, against competitors in the same vicinity. It's not uncommon to see something like this happen. So to me, it's not that big of a deal. Now, will AEW benefit from this? That's the real question. And I do think that's a very fair question to ask, is will AEW benefit from it? I think to a certain degree they will. The cost of what it costs to advertise and the return, I don't really know those answers. And that brings us to our final topic. Ladies and gentlemen, there was a major leak, and it appears that Fortnite is bringing in Undertaker and Cody Rhodes into the game. There's a total bundle, 2,800 V-Bucks. If you guys like Fortnite, this is pretty huge. Undertaker and Cody Rhodes. I don't know why I said Kurt Angle. That's crazy. That's a botch. Undertaker and Cody Rhodes being in the game is huge. Fortnite, believe it or not, is still a very, very popular game. WWE is now, we've seen them in Fortnite, we've seen them in Call of Duty, but now they're bringing more characters. There's, Cody Rhodes has the Whoa emote. Undertaker has his own emotes. They have their own accessories and stuff of that nature. I think it's a good thing for professional wrestling to be involved in these third-party games. DLC, people will buy them. People are interested in them. And for WWE to show, if every sporting team is holding WWE championship belts, if every video game is featuring WWE, if every bar is playing WWE, what does that tell you? It tells you that WWE is popular and it's in demand. So when you see that WWE is being featured across video games, I think that's just a really good sign that business is hot. But also, I don't know if WWE gets paid from Fortnite. I don't know how that works. I don't know what their agreement is or anything like that. I'm going to assume there is a little bit of money coming in because of licensing. But I think just in general, having your wrestlers in these video games, it does make sense. It's actually something I would love to see TNA and AEW get involved with in some capacity. Joe Hendry was just part of PUBG, right? Which is pretty cool. So at the end of the day, this is a really cool leak. It's me personally, I don't buy the skins. I don't play video games like that. So it's hard for me to say, oh my God, I'm like in love with this. But the idea is the right idea. And I would like to see every wrestling company take advantage of it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Ango Show. Thank you so much for watching.